two must-know exercise modifications if you've got bad knees. So we're talking specifically about leg exercises. So quite often you might be wanting to strengthen your legs. And as we all know, that if you have bad knee joints, we need to strengthen the surrounding muscles around them so that they can support the muscles. Short little story, my personal experience with that was, for many years I trained clients and they would always say, oh, I'm feeling it in my knee joints, when they were just doing basic exercises like squats or lunges. And it wasn't until, because I've always exercised since I was very young, so it wasn't until, I think I was about 35 at the time, that I tore my ACL in a martial arts accident, and I had to have a knee reconstruction. And during that period of time, I lost all my muscle mass in my left leg. When I went back to doing all of the exercises that I was previously doing, lunges and squats, all I could feel was, I could feel it in the joint, not in the muscles anymore. I was doing the technique perfect as I always had previously done, but it was a good little eye-opener for me to understand that if you don't have adequate strength in the surrounding muscles, then the joint picks up all the forces. So if you do have bad knees, the way that you can modify it, and that's what I specifically did, was there's two key modifications that you need to make to your leg exercises. And I'm going to talk about 3 specific leg exercises: squats, I'm going to talk about step ups, and I'm going to talk about lunges. And this applies to all 3 of those exercises. The first variable that you have to think about is the resistance that you use. Now, I know that that's a no-brainer, but what you have to think about is that it's not like if I'm doing a bicep curl, I hold the weight in my hand, right? My hand, my lower arm doesn't weigh much. When I'm doing a leg exercise, so obviously the dumbbell that I hold, that's almost, going to be 99% of the weight. Whereas when I'm doing a squat or a step up or a lunge, my body weight is the resistance. So especially if you're quite heavy compared to your weight to strength ratio is not very good, then you're gonna be lifting a lot of weight through that joint. So what we need to do is regress the exercise. So the way that I've done it over the years with many clients is, as an example, as a squat, the squat would be that we could either hold onto something. So perhaps you have like a chair or a rack that you can hold your hands onto, and we still do our squats with perfect technique, but we're just taking a bit of our body weight out of it, so that maybe we're doing 50% of our body weight rather than 100%. And just from that one modification over the years, I've had clients that couldn't do squats, or you could do it for lunges, or you could do it for step ups. You can even hold like a stick, like a broomstick, hold it on the ground if you're doing like a lunge to take part of the weight, or a step up if you're stepping up and down, you might put it on the step. So however you do it, we can hold bands even wrapped around something high so it takes the load out of the bottom of the squat or the lunge. However you take that weight out, it's just going to mean that you're going to be able to do the exercise without, you can moderate how much weight you take out of it so that you can do it without feeling pain. That's the first modification. The second modification is the depth of how deep you go into it. So quite often people will think that they have to go, if they're doing a squat, that, we always get told, you need to go thighs parallel to the floor. Now, that is not going to be doable we work with clients that are in their 50s and 60s. Most clients can't do that. Most clients have, if not, bad knees, they do have some weakness through the area. So what we want to really do is we want to graduate it. So perhaps to start with, for the squat, the depth may only be like a quarter depth squat. And if you can do that pain-free, then generally what happens when we go to this angle, we'll develop strength through that range a little bit lower. So over time, what can happen is You may be able to progress from just a quarter squat. As we can do that with pain-free knees, then we can start to build the strength in the muscles, and then we can progress to going a little bit deeper and deeper over time. Same thing applies for our lunges. Perhaps you just do, maybe you're holding on to something and maybe you just do a slight lunge up and down for the moment until you can build that strength up. Or with the step ups, rather than doing, a step that's, say, the height of your knees, maybe you start with a very small height step where it's literally like, the size of a step of a flight of stairs, because essentially, really, that's what we need to do. We need to be able to walk upstairs, because all of us will have encounters in our life where we have to walk up and down stairs. So if you start with just a normal step height and build your strength up from there, and then you can progress to going higher steps. So they're my two key must-do modifications to make exercises doable for you if you do have bad knees, and also give you a pathway to be able to progress to building more strength and being able to do the full version of the exercise.